Let's see. So we are cat lovers in my family, and I had a cat when I was in college, or after college, and we really love cats, and we have two cats now. But there was one time when my kids were 10 and 8 years old. We live in a street with a cul-de-sac, and there's only like 5 houses, and we're back in the cul-de-sac. And one Saturday morning, I got in my car, ran out to go to the growers market, and there at the end of our street, which it ends into a busy street, was a dead animal on the yellow lines. And at first I wasn't sure what it was, and I looked closely as I pulled out and around it, and it was a dead cat, and I felt terrible. So and I'm figuring somebody's going to find it and get it cleaned up. I hope I'm not. Somebody's going to be. Did somebody just? all right. This is kind of sad. So I figure somebody's going to find it and clean it up before Monday, when my kids and all the neighborhood school children are standing 15 feet away from this dead cat. So a little later in the afternoon, I come back, it's still there. A little later, we go out to Little League practice, and I'm wondering if my kids are going to see it. And sure enough, Daddy, what's that? What's that? And I'm like, I think a cat passed. I think a cat was killed. And my son's like, what's the cat's name? And I think it's Splat the Cat. To which my wife's like, cut it out. That's you shouldn't be doing that. So my older son was at the point where he started laughing. He thought it was funny, but my younger one was still like, a cat. And so Sunday morning, we get up and we're going run errands, and it's still there, right? And I'm like, oh man, it hasn't been found. And so Sunday afternoon, I have to go get a snow shovel, and this is like, in September or October, and I go out and get a snow shovel, and I, make sure no traffic's coming, and kind of scoop it up, and it was heavy in the shovel, and I had to walk across. There was a big berm on the other side of the road, and I disposed of the cat. I just threw it up as far as I could. What else was I going to do? So on Tuesday, I come home from work, and sitting in the mail pile is a flyer that somebody's put in all the mailboxes. We've lost our cat, and have you seen our cat? And I'm sitting, and I'm like, oh man, I had a real rough day at work, and I'm like, I got to call them and tell them that, not only was their cat dead, but I improperly disposed of it instead of giving it a proper burial, right? And and I felt so bad. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go up and get changed first, and then I'm going to get this out of the way. And so I call the phone number, and this little chirpy 8-year-old girl answers the phone. To which I'm like, humana, with So finally I realized, is your mom or dad there? And she put her father on, and I talked to I explained to the father, and he was very nice. And I just said, I really, I didn't understand whose cat it was. Here they lived in a townhome development across over on the other side of that berm, and there's like hundreds of homes in there. And I just said, the cat was there, and I needed to dispose of it before all the kids went back to school. And he's like, I understand. And I offered to go out and help him. I said, if you want me to come out and help you locate it. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. We thought something had happened, but my daughter insisted on sending flyers out. And so the tough thing was, as I was hanging up the phone, I was thinking of him turning, hanging up the phone himself and turning to tell his daughter their cat was in heaven. So that's my story. So.